Celtic Park will always be the ground that has the most important place in the Celts' history. But numerous other Scottish football grounds have an important position in the Celtic story as well. Fir Park is certainly one of these, with numerous tales of goals and league-winning celebrations. It's only logical that Celtic should have a strong Fir Park connection, given that the boys were the first team to visit the ground. Since that first day, it's been an exciting sight for the Celts. This is the story of Celtic and Motherwell's home ground of Fir Park. The Lanarkshire club had played in different venues since their inception. In 1895, Motherwell moved to their current ground, Fir Park. Like Celtic, their land at the time was rented from a lord. In the two cases, it was Lord Newlands for Celtic and Lord Hamilton of DL for Motherwell. Like Celtic Park in this era, the early Fir Park looked very different from the modern venue. It featured a small stand and also basic terracing around the pitch. This would be full for the Celts' maiden visit. Around 6,000 fans came to watch the opening of Fir Park. The match had numerous dignitaries in attendance. According to newspapers, different club officials, local politicians and a Father Collins watched the game. In the days that each club provided a linesman, Celtic's president John Glass acted as one of these. The Celtic 11 featured some famous club names, including renowned early goalkeeper Dan MacArthur, defender Barney Battles and attacker John Divers. In this era, it was common for non-players to kick off matches. Lanarkshire FA president Alec Kirkwood, who would later become the SFA president, started the proceedings. From the earliest moment, it was obvious this would be a one-sided encounter. Shortly after the match got underway, the boys went ahead. John Divers became the first ever player to score at Fir Park. By half-time, it was 6-1 to Celtic. Thomas Smith did at least get Motherwell's first goal at their ground. In the second half, Celtic were not quite so dominant, although they still added 2 further goals. By full-time, the first Fir Park game had ended Motherwell 1, Celtic 8. The boys had not proved to be the most gracious of first visitors to the ground. This big scoreline continued a pattern involving Celtic in 8 goals in Motherwell. The boys' first visit to the Lanarkshire town came in 1889, a little over 10 months after Celtic's first ever game. At that point, Motherwell were playing at DL Park. On the 6th of April, 5,000 fans were present to watch the visit of Celtic, and another one-sided affair. By half-time, the Glasgow men had a comfortable 4-1 lead, and when full-time was called, the scoreline now read 8-3. Celtic's first games in Motherwell and at Fir Park featured the number 8. However, on another occasion, 8 brought a very different and negative Lanarkshire experience for Celtic. On the 30th of April 1937, the Celts travelled to face Motherwell in the final league game of the season. Celtic would finish third in the title race, but the previous week they'd beaten Aberdeen to win the Scottish Cup. As such, the Glasgow men were in a confident and positive mood. However, judging by the 90 minutes that followed, they shouldn't have been. By half-time, the scoreline read 4-0 to the home men. The boys were truly demoralised, and things were only going to get worse. A problem with injuries took Celtic down to 9 men, including losing their goalkeeper Joe Kennaway. This meant that attacker Willie Buchan had to take his place in between the goalposts. Unsurprisingly, none of this helped improve the Celts' performance. Instead, things declined further. When the referee sounded the final whistle, it was Motherwell who claimed an 8-0 victory. And for the boys' team, the only thing they took from that day was being part of Celtic's heaviest ever defeat. Going back to 1895, when Celtic played the opening game at Fir Park, there was one unusual aspect to the story. Specifically, it wasn't the only time that the Celts played that day. As one Celtic team had been hammering Motherwell, another was involved with a game at Celtic Park. Using a different starting 11, the boys welcomed Belfast team Glentoran to Glasgow, and the home men won 6-0 in that match. Playing twice on the same day is rare, but Celtic have done this more than once. And one other occasion also featured Fir Park and was an even more momentous matter. During World War I, games in the Scottish League continued to take place. Although some people were opposed to football being played whilst war was going on, others felt that it was important for morale that sports continue, although the Scottish Cup was stopped at this time. Celtic were very successful in this era. Before the war began, the Celts were title holders, and then they also won the 1915, 1916 and 1917 titles. Rangers claimed the 1918 one, which was the last before war came to an end in November of that year. Although football was still going on, there were some changes to the sport. As well as limits being placed on players' wages, there were also restrictions about when games were allowed to be played. As such, in season 1915-16, Celtic were struggling to complete all of their fixtures. To try and overcome this problem, they decided to play 2 games in one day in April 1916. It proved to be a huge day. On the 15th of April 1916, Celtic firstly welcomed Raith Rovers to Glasgow's East End. A big win for Celtic brought cheer for different reasons. For one thing, the boys' 6-0 victory set a new scoring record for the Scottish League in one season. And another, it left Celtic on the brink of winning the championship. After beating Raith, the Celts weren't finished and had a journey to undertake. They travelled to Fir Park to play their second match of the day. This resulted in a 3-1 victory for the boys, and it meant that for the 13th time, Celtic were the champions. When it comes to league-winning matches, Fir Park has been a mixed venue for the Celts. They might have celebrated in 1916, but that was most definitely not the case in May 2005. Instead, on that day, the boys suffered something of a footballing disaster. Martin O'Neill's team travelled to Motherwell for the final fixture of the season. They simply needed a win to claim the title. However, the match took place under something of a cloud. Owing to his wife's illness, O'Neill had surprisingly announced that he was going to leave the club. Although the boys went 1 ahead thanks to a Chris Sutton goal, they could not get a second to give themselves breathing room. This would soon be a matter of great regret. With 2 minutes remaining, Scott MacDonald equalised for the home team, and then scored the winner just afterwards. From Celtic's point of view, the term Black Sunday became permanently associated with this day. However, on a much brighter note, one Fir Park visit helped send the Celts on the road to Lisbon. 1965 was a major year for Celtic. It saw the arrival of Jock Stein, who went on to win the Scottish Cup, and this was the Celts' first major trophy in 8 years. As a result of this, season 1965-66 started with positive Celtic hopes in Stein's first full season in charge. By May 1966, Celtic stood on the verge of their first title since 1954. On the final day of the season, they travelled to Fir Park. Before the match began, it was a near certainty that the boys would be champions. They sat level on points with the nearest challengers, Rangers, who had completed their season, and the boys had a much better goal average. Only a massive defeat by Motherwell could change things. Despite this, the boys wanted to win the title under their own steam, and, going back to 1937's events, they did know that big defeats can happen to Celtic at Fir Park. As the match went on, no team could find the net. Celtic, it seemed, would win the league by a point, in an otherwise forgettable 0-0 draw. That is until the final minute, when Bobby Lennox grabbed a late winner to send the fans into delirium, including some that sat atop a roof at Fir Park to watch. Not only was this the boys' first league title in 12 years, and the first of 9 successive championships, it also took Celtic into the 1966-67 European Cup. This would, of course, end in the club's greatest day when they beat Inter Milan to claim Europe's top footballing prize. The Celts have another sad connection with Fir Park. One of the stands at the ground is named after Phil O'Donnell, a former Celtic player. He had originally played for Motherwell before moving to the Celts in 1994, becoming the club's then most expensive signing. By 2004, and after a stint in England, he was back in Lanarkshire and later became the Well captain. But in 2007, a genuine tragedy took place, not simply a footballing defeat. In late December, Motherwell played Dundee United. During the game, O'Donnell collapsed and died when aged only 35. The footballing world was shocked, as were the Celts. It led to the postponement of different games, including Celtic matches. The boys and Motherwell later played a benefit game to help O'Donnell's family. And, to this day, an annual walk celebrates the player's life, going from Fir Park to Celtic Park. Whether it's a tale of sadness or cheer, Motherwell's Fir Park ground has a big part to play in the Celtic story. There are forgettable moments, such as heavy defeats or losing league titles, but, fortunately, these are outweighed by the Celts' many successes, including 2 league-winning games. And, as always, hopefully Celtic's Fir Park future will feature even more of these memorable occasions. If you want to learn more about Celtic history, follow Hail Hail History on Twitter X and Blue Sky. You can also learn more about Celtic's history in free Celtic walking tours. Visit celticwalkingtours.wordpress.com for more information.